All right. Well, hello, everybody. My name is Jim Sparks. I'm the head football coach at Clawson High School in Clawson, Michigan. I'm honored to have been asked by the Coaches Association to put a little something together and share with everyone during the quarantine here. I know we're all striving for ways to stay busy, and hopefully this will put a little something for you guys to pay attention to today. So a little bit about Clawson. Not going to go into it too much. We're a small school in the middle of a bunch of big schools in Oakland County. We're surrounded by Troy on one side and Royal Oak on the other, and we're nestled right in the middle there. We've got about 530 students. Our football program is not that large, but we do a lot of inter-city stuff. We've been playing ball here at Clawson since 1927, so we've got tremendous support from our administration and our community. So what we lack in numbers, we more than make up for in enthusiasm and support. So what I'm going to try to share with you today is just some things that I think might set us apart here in Clawson. Offensively, since 2002, we've been on board with different types of spread concepts that we've incorporated over the years. And the one thing I think I'm most proud of is we've been able to adapt what we've done from year to year to fit the kids that we've had and maintain, whereas we're not playing in Ford Field every year, which we'd love to, but we do manage to compete for our league year in and year out, and we've had our fair share of playoff runs in the past, and I think that's a credit to our kids and my coaching staff, but at the same time, I think it can be attributed to our ability to take what we do offensively and defensively and fit it to the kids in our program. So what I'm going to present today is what we call within our program is tags in our run game. Get into a little bit about some of our post-snap RPOs, and we're big into package plays. So I'll explain what those are. A little bit about this idea of tags. So we're a no-huddle team, and quite a few years ago, we switched our entire offense to where every play is just a single word. We did that for a number of reasons. One, we wanted to take as much language out of our play calls as possible so that we could signal them in by hand. We didn't want to have to run players in. We didn't want our quarterback to come over. That slowed us down. So like I said, about 8-9 years ago, we converted all of our plays to just one single word. That worked real well back then because primarily we were just a zone running team. Our entire offense consisted of inside zone, outside zone, and we ran a little counter back then. So it wasn't a big deal. What happened was we went through a period of time where our strength of our team wasn't necessarily in the ability to throw the ball as much as it was. We started to have some quarterbacks that could run the ball a little bit. We started to have some offensive linemen that, zone didn't necessarily fit their skill set as much as, physical down blocks and gap schemes. So what we had to do is we didn't want to reinvent the wheel and just start putting pages in the playbook. So what we came up with was an idea where we would create what we call tag. So tag is just a simple word we can add to any existing play, and what it does is it changes the assignment for certain players, not all of them. So I'm going to walk you through how we use those, and hopefully you guys can get an idea. My email's down at the bottom. I know as a guy's been coaching for quite a while now, reaching out to other coaches to get their thoughts on what we do has been a huge asset for me over the years to develop what we do here. I'd be glad to share. Hopefully some of this is interesting to somebody. Watch some of the online clinics that Coach Mack and other guys have put on, and we have so many great coaches in the state. It was a challenge to come up with something that you guys might find interesting and useful. So we'll see what we can do. All right, so as I mentioned already, what is a tag? It's a simple word you add to a play call. Tags only have meaning to a specific group of players, which is the advantage. Particularly what we try to do in our offense is we try to make everything as easy as possible for the linemen. Those are our big guys. They're the backbone of our team. We don't want to complicate things for them. So a tag, generally, our goal with any tag is to leave the lineman alone. All right, so for example, if we call inside zone, all right, our offensive line knows exactly what to do on inside zone anytime we call it. Now we can add a tag that could potentially change what our H-back does, what our quarterback does, what our tailback does, what our receivers do, and it would leave the lineman alone. So as it says in the last bullet there, the majority of the players unaffected by the tag. So a simple play call for us, you know, like you can use any word you want. So if you say Zorro, okay, Zorro to the right. Well, we could just add a simple word. We could say Zorro book, and you'll see how that works. But that book only applies to our quarterback. So our offensive line would remain unchanged. So that's kind of where we're going to go with this discussion as we move forward. All right, so why use tags? This isn't something, believe it or not, this isn't something that we actually stole from someone else, which is basically, if you really dive into the Clawson offense, it's bits and pieces from some great minds all over everywhere that we put together. But this tags came out of necessity. Like I said, we needed to diversify our run game. So, you know, I learned a lot from power, from believe it or not, Coach McIntyre up in Mount Pleasant is excellent if you want to run power out of spread. I'd reach out to him. I know I did. He's a great guy. I'd be glad to help you out. But what we did is we started dabbling with power, but we didn't want to, like I said earlier, reinvent the playbook. So we found ways to put in the power play, come up with these tags, keep the language down, make our play call simple, make it easy to signal in the plays, but at the same time, diversify what we do in the run game. So we can take one play call like power, and we can really run it 5-6 different ways that would look like different plays to everyone else, but it's just we've added one word to our play call, sometimes two, but our offensive line remains unchanged. You don't need to require, tags allow you to put in new plays, but you don't have to install new schemes to all the offensive personnel. So when you're doing your install day, like I said, lineman is where it starts. It stays easy. So if we're installing power, they're down there and they're basically just installing power for the entire, 12-minute session that day that we're installing, 20 minutes on during 2 days. Now, where the tags come in is the individual position groups are responsible to put the tags in. So a lot of it falls on the quarterback, a lot of it falls on the running back, and then our H-back. All right, so they'll work on that in their indie period where they'll put their tags in those guys. Some of our linemen, like our guards on some of our plays, gets changed a little bit, but for the most part, the tag allows our linemen to remain unchanged. Last bullet there says single words allow you to communicate easily and play at various tempos. Using tags, like I said, allows us to signal in plays very easily. We don't have to change our up tempo. We can play, as fast as we want. We can huddle at times. We use a sugar huddle more. Our receivers never come in, but we can slow it down when you're playing some of those teams you need to keep the ball away from. You can slow it down a little bit, and tags still are appropriate at that point. But what they really allow you to do is play fast, because our quarterback, if we wanted to go in the simplest form of no huddle communication, he could simply, as we're running to the ball, just shout out the tag to the lineman. The backs get the signal from the sideline. So we would be ready to snap the ball as soon as the ref blows it into play by keeping our play calls short and distinct. All right, so the next couple slides we're going to go through here are some examples of some of the tags that we have. Now, the first couple slides here, I don't have video to go with these because these are pretty basic, simple concepts. Like the first one, if you look down at the left, it explains what we're going on. So this would be what we would actually call 11 personnel. We count our H as a tight end. So when he goes in the game, we yell 11, and he's quite often involved in the tag. So we can get into, a split zone concept where we would make a kick tag. So we would say like an inside zone, we'd say like Zorro kick. That would be the entire play call. Our line knows they're blocking inside zone. Kick tells the H-back he's going to go across the formation and kick out the defensive end on the backside. If we make a knock call, you can see that he's responsible for the defensive end on the same side he lines up on. Okay, the concept's still the same. It's still split zone, but it allows us to do two things. One, the play looks different when you go in there. And second, most importantly, this kick and this knock, what this allows us to do now is we count our inside zone as a six-man surface. We have the 5 D linemen that are responsible for, or excuse me, 5 O linemen responsible for 5 defensive players. And then the quarterback in our basic zone is responsible for the 6, just like anyone that runs his own read. When we add the H-back with a kick or a knock, in our philosophy, that gives us now a 7-man surface to block with, because now the H-back is responsible for the 6 and the quarterback can now go the 7. Why is that important? Well, when we go into our RPO game, by adding these 2 tags, kick and knock, what we're able to do then is our RPO is now able to read a 7th man, not a 6th. So what that gives us the ability to do is, you'll see later, is we could read a strong safety in a cover 4, an outside linebacker. We can read a deep safety in a cover 2. So these kick and knock, we incorporate these into our RPO scheme, which allows us to read a different man. Here's a couple more tags that we have. This is a round and attack. All right, so you can see here, here's the big difference. The motion of the H-back is exactly the same. So when we have the around tag, he's still gonna go across the formation just like he did in a kick. However, we're not gonna block that DN. Now, the reason we do this is if we're having success running the kick and the knock, that defensive end, we'll see teams trying to really mess that up. They'll try to wrong arm it. Some of them seems borderline illegal at times, but they'll cut that guy down as he's coming across, and it can have an impact as we're trying to run our inside zone. So if we see a defensive end hard playing that kick or that knock block, what we'll do is we'll utilize these 2. So we know if they're going to play hard to take out that kick and knock, then we know the quarterback is going to get a pull read off that defensive end in most cases. So what we'll do is we'll make this call. We'll more than likely get the pull read. The H-back then goes and blocks a second level defender as the quarterback pulls it and exits around the formation. So this is a good kind of answer to a defensive end that is just hard playing your H-back on the kick out block. So we could take advantage of his over aggressiveness and get our quarterback on the edge. Now, I was fortunate enough this past year, we had a quarterback who was an excellent runner, which was the first time really in, the time I've been coaching. Generally, our quarterbacks, their skill set is throwing the ball. We're typically throwing for over 2,000 yards a season. I'm proud to say this past year, our quarterback actually ran for over 1,000 yards. So we incorporate a lot of these schemes to get him on the edge and really mess with that defensive end. By using kick and knock, around and attack, and some of the RPOs and some of the other things we do, our goal is to really keep that defensive end guessing, not knowing exactly how it's going to play. We could be running at him. We could be running away from him. We could be reading him. We could be kicking him out. Really, those are a lot of times some of the best defensive players that we face are those defensive ends. And this is just a way for us to kind of neutralize them by having different ways to attack them. All right. So this is our first tag that I have some examples of that we'll share some video with you here. And this is just a quick tag. So what the quick tag does is it takes any play in our offense and it makes the quarterback the primary ball carrier. All right. So for example, if this would be our outside zone, so stretch. So if we're running stretch and we want to have the quarterback run it, we would just say stretch quick. And then again, the lineman, nothing changes. They're running stretch. What quick does is it changes a little bit for the quarterback and this guy over here, the running back. because when he hears the quick call, he knows he basically now is he's the second back or the fullback. So his assignment would be for us in a stretch call is he's going to help secure the end. All right, he's going to help secure the end. And if we get a good reach block there, he'll hit him with his inside shoulder and hopefully be able to help us get to the second level. We really, when we call an outside zone with a quick, we really want to get the ball to the outside. Now, in the film that I'm going to show you, when we run our quick tag, a lot of times we'll have an RPO going over here with our slot. So he'll run a bubble. That way, if our quarterback, when he attacks the edge, running the outside zone, if he gets pressure coming from a second level defender in his face, he'll throw the ball out to the slot receiver who's running a bubble. So when you see this clip, the first clip I'm going to show you, the quarterback doesn't have the ball tucked under his hand. He's got it in a throwing posture because we're looking, if he gets somebody in his face real quick, he'll stop and he'll throw that there. So hopefully the slides stayed in the correct order. I was having some issue with that. All right, so here's our first one. So we're going to run an outside zone to the left, and we've got a quick tag. So you can see here, Lamphere, they're one of the better teams in our league. You really have to be creative to attack these guys. So we had a feeling that they were going to play a loaded box against us. So you can see they got 7 guys crammed in there. So this was a big part of what we're trying to do, is trying to get our QB out here on the edge. This guy's going to run a bubble. This guy's going to run a bubble here. And the thought process was, if this guy hard plays our quarterback on the stretch and threatens the edge here, we could throw the bubble there. We always have the option too. Our running back here right now, we've got 2 outside the tackle. So the tackle knows he's going to have this guy all on his own. This guy here, he's going to be trying to get his helmet on the outside shoulder of this gentleman to get our quarterback on the edge. All right, so we can roll through this here and you can see how it works. So you can see, even though this is a run play, our quarterback is in a throwing posture. And he's really, at this point, probably already made the decision that he's going to run the ball because he doesn't have anyone on his edge real quick at this point. So here we go. At this point, we could have made he could have, if he probably tucked it a little too soon for my liking here, and he didn't. We'd like him outside the hash here, keep away from these big fellas inside. But just like I said, he's a pretty good runner, so he knows him keeping the ball is a pretty good option. But I'd like him more outside the hash here. And we could have probably thrown this bubble on this play here, which would have been a good play for us. But as you can see, the quick tag number 3 is he would like the ball there because he's a competitor. All right, here's the next one. Here's another quick tag. Now, this is off of our ISO scheme. All right, so we do run some good old-fashioned ISO. So this would be an ISO, and we would just tag ISO with quick. So we would just say ISO quick. The tailback knows he's the lead blocker, so he's going to run through the ISO hole. When we run ISO, our guard sets the hole. All right. The quarterback and the running back are going to read the block of this guard. So pre-snap, he's inside our guard, so we have a pretty good idea that this is going to be a B-gap ISO here. We do RPO off of this as well. What we would do here, we don't have it on in this instance, but you can ISO on this pretty easy off of an inside backer or off of this guy, because we now are incorporating with a quick call, we can read a second level defender. So we do this quite often with Tristan, is we'll have him run like a little stick route out here, and he'll run his quick ISO, and if someone enters the box, he'll almost like Brett Favre jump pass or on the run, flip it out there to the stick. This one is not the case. We have a run all the way here. All right, so you can see here, I'll pause it halfway through. That's what he did right there, 100% dummy call. All right, because we verbalize a lot at the line, we have to make sure we're not giving away our play. So this play was quick ISO the whole time, but we were given some dummy signals from the sideline to hopefully keep Lanphier and their coaching staff guessing as to what we're trying to do. All right, so here comes our quick ISO. All right, so there it is, your basic ISO. You can see our number 3, he's running a bubble. We're trying to get that safety to widen on this. You can see, by the way, he's tucked the ball right away. It's obviously no pass option on this at all. But, you know, it's a straight downhill ISO play just with a simple quick tag. All right. Now, most of our tags come within our gap scheme, and our gap scheme is all based on power. All right. So just a little bit about our power, and I put these crude diagrams down there. This is a Coach Me app. We like to use this. It's a playbook that the app is cheap. It's like $5. But what it allows you to do is put your playbook, and then the kids have access to it on the phone. So we like it because during this quarantine, kids check their phone way more than their email. So we've had some good luck communicating with like that. So I checked that out. It's a Coach Me app. The lines aren't straight because you got to draw them by hand. But anyway, our power, it's just like anyone else. I'm sure a lot of people run power, so I'm not going to go into that. But the important thing for us is we have names for the different assignments, okay? So in power, you have to have someone responsible for this play side end. So that is, in our term, that's the trapper. You have to have somebody responsible for the play side linebacker. That's your puller. So in our power, we have 2 guys. We have a trapper and we have a puller. That's important because when we start putting tags on, we're basically changing who's the trapper and who's the puller. Another thing we can change is the assignments for who's got each individual linebacker. So in our base power, our lineman knows they're going to double to the backside linebacker, and our puller will have the play side. We can use tags to change that. We can send our double team to the play side, which would allow us to read the backside. So we accomplish that, just like I said, not a new play, not a new concept. We just give a tag. The linemen hear it. They know they're going to go a different direction. All right, so this isn't a power presentation because everyone, like I said, runs power, but it is important as we go through these tags that you understand our idea of who's a trapper and who's a puller, clearly define that so you can see how the tags can affect those guys. So I do have several tags in our gap scheme that I'll go through. All right, so here's the first one. This is a book tag. So book, like you read a book. So this is power read. All right, so what we've got here, when they hear a book tag, this is the beauty of it. These linemen, nothing changes, nothing at all. The puller is still the puller. We're still doubling to the same spot. Everybody's assignment is exactly the same. However, when we hear book, that tells the running back and the quarterback that we're not going to kick out the end. We are now going to read them. So here's the guy. So you notice we don't have anyone assigned to blocking him. We're going to read him. So our tailback, when he hears book, he knows he's going to run outside zone course to the play call. Right? He's got to be going fast. We need him at full speed when he gets to the mesh point. Our quarterback is going to read the end. If he widens it all, we should get a pull. Now, this is real important. A lot of your quarterbacks, and ours too, they think that this play should be run outside of this double team. If they do that, that causes problems. Number one, it makes them closer to their read. Number two, this linebacker that our puller is trying to get to, he'll scrape hard over your double team and make it almost impossible for him to get him. So what you want is you want this quarterback, when he pulls, to run a really, really tight course. We tell him he's got to run right up the seam of the pants of this guard, right up the butt crack, okay? What that'll do is if he puts it there, we actually want him in our best plays are where there's a pile in there, all right? We tell him, get on the back of that guard, push that double team, and then wait till you feel the bubble, and then the play will spill. What we're trying to do with that theory is bring this backer into this pile, have him choose a side, and we'll spill it with the quarterback in an opposite direction, and that'll make our puller right most of the time. If your quarterback is in a hurry to get out here, this play is not going to be as successful. So we battled that all year. He's got to run a tight course on this to stay away from that read. All right, so I've got several clips of this. you'll see how this works. All right, so here's the first one. So here's our book. So this would be power book. Quarterback comes up. Okay, there's our, oops, let me back that up there so you can see. There's our read guy. All right, he knows this one. Actually, this is a great. Okay, so there's our read guy. Now these guys in here, nothing changes. We're all running power. He needs to be running a course to threaten that end. As we run through this, you can see what the quarterback sees. You can see that guy widening out to play our running back, and that's all we need. We just need that little bit of width there, and you can see, I mean, nice run by our QB there. Okay, here's another one, same thing. There's our read guy. All right. Again, nothing changes for anyone else. Widens out. You can see he's very, very interested in chasing our tailback. So one thing with us, which we like to believe at Clawson, is one big offensive philosophy we have is, you know, we have great linemen. We love them to death, but they're not always the biggest guys. We're not putting offensive linemen in the Big Ten. So sometimes we run into mismatches. Like, despite our best efforts, we just don't feel confident we can block them. So we've spent a lot of time over the years. Our philosophy is if we can't block them, then we're not going to. So we'll read them. So this is an example. Those defensive ends, a lot of time, we don't have a back or a lineman that can successfully kick those guys out. So what this allows us to do is not block them. So it sounds funny, but like at Clawson, some of our best offensive plays are we don't block the best players on the team. So here's another one. See that guy? He actually goes right after our guy. We get a nice big play here. And again, the beauty of a tag is it's still power for us. Oh, this one I have to go through. This is an example of a clinic presentation where the player did not do what he's supposed to do. Our fullback here, love this kid, awesome kid, gonna go play at Concordia as a linebacker, but he's blocking this as if it's like an outside zone quick tag. He's helping out on the D end. He shouldn't be doing that. Like when we have our book tag with two backs, he should be getting out here, blocking this defender, and we should still be reading this gentleman. Instead, as you'll see in here, he goes and blocks this guy, which is not the best situation. Our quarterback, he still does he probably should give it when he sees that this guy's blocked, but he still pulls it and we get a decent play. So you can see he blocks the wrong guy there. We actually do give that, which is good for Tristan. That's exactly what he should do, is when he sees us accidentally block that guy, the give reads what he should do. I wanted to put that in there just so you can see, like, that two-back book call is a really nice call for us. Gets an extra blocker out there if you do get the give read. All right, next one, trip tag. So this one does affect our linemen to a certain extent. When they hear trip is T, trip tells the tackle that he is now the puller, and trip tells the guard that he is the trapper. Okay, so this is just old school counter. We've run this for years from under center. Got it from when, let's see, Coach Moeller was at Michigan, and they were heavy downhill zone run team, and they had the counter off of that. We put it in years ago, and we brought it back when we had the quarterback who could run the ball. So we would just run trip. So we still consider this a power play. So what we would say is we would just say power trip. All right. Now the reason we don't have an entire play is because these play side guys trip, nothing changes for them. These guys over here, they hear power, they're blocking power. Trip just tells these backside guys they have different assignments. Trip means nothing to the running back. He's running power just to use. In fact, when he hears trip, we don't like him running the butt crack of this guard. When we hear trip, we want him to actually run the outside hip of the center. We want an even tighter course on this, because what we're trying to do there is we want to bring this backer into this A gap here so we can get off this double and get him blocked. Again, if our running back takes off out here like he's going to, that guy, if he's any good at all, he'll scrape right over that double team and mess up your play. So when you run a trip, really work hard on having your running back. If it doesn't seem like it makes sense, but trust me, it makes a world of difference. Have him run real tight to this center on this trip call. Now, in our basic trip call, we're going to read the backside end. You get a lot of pull. You get a lot of pull with the trip, because as this tackle takes off, that end, you know, they're taught to chase that puller. So you get a lot of times you get that quarterback on the edge, which is good for us. I don't have a clip for this. This is just basic power there, but we have tags off of it, which I'll show you here, which I put in here to share with you guys. All right, so this is trade. All right, so this is one of the few times our play call now has 3 words. Our play from the sideline actually has 3 signals. So what we would say, you would say power, trip, trade. Power, trip, trade. So trip, the tag trip, tells our backside guard he's a trapper. Tells our backside tackle he's a puller. Trade says that we've changed who's responsible for the pull. So we've traded. So you can see here, the primary ball carrier on trade is now the quarterback. The tailback now becomes basically the pull guy. All right, so he's going to run that same toss course. He's going to open up. He's going to be sprinting full speed when he gets to the mesh point. Our quarterback is going to be reading this gentleman right here. All right, if this guy, like in most cases, he'll play this running back. You'll see this guy coming across his face. He'll play this running back. We will get a pull. He'll run that nice tight course off the cheek of the center. And we'll get our same power trip call, but our quarterback will run it. And we're going to threaten the edge with this motion of the tailback coming across his face. So I've got several clips of this. This is something we did a lot last year. Primarily, it was the first year we ever did it. This is our playoff game. This is Detroit Henry Ford. So there's our read guy. He's the end man, the line of scrimmage. So if you watch how this works, you'll see these 2 linemen pull. There's our trapper. Here's our puller. We're going to read this guy. There he goes. You can see that defensive end, how concerned he is with the tailback. Kudos on that guy carrying the fake there. He could play for Coach Kapoka, or he could go play at St. Mary's. He's got the dark sleeves there, help him hide the ball. Could definitely play some halfback in a T with a fake like that. I'm not sure how he carries it out, but you'll see our quarterback pull. He bounces it outside because our trapper actually logged that guy. Henry Ford, pretty aggressive D lineman. So you can see our trapper actually was able to seal that guy inside. I'd like to see him stay on that block better instead of just push him. But it allows our quarterback at the edge, kind of hangs our puller out to dry. But anytime you score in the playoffs, that's a good play. Okay, here's another one. Here's a trip trade here. All right, this one's kind of unique. So I'm gonna pause this. We made a special call on this. Lanphier, we were very concerned. Like a lot of times when we scouted them, they ended up having 2 guys outside the tackle. All right, so what we did is, you'll notice the alignment of this gentleman. He's not flat. We didn't have him run his course to the hash here. He's actually, there's no read on this. He is blocking the end. Like we were worried that we were going to get 2 off the edge out here, and that we would read 1, give the ball, and our tailback would get smoked by a defender we couldn't account for. So what we did is we just told him he's going to take a fake and block the first man outside our tackle, all right, which would allow hopefully our quarterback to be able to get the pull. So there's no read on this. This was a game plan thing for the week that we put in. out of respect for the scheme that we expected from Lamphere. So you can see here. So you see we did end up with 2. They blitzed the guy and they had the defensive end. So this worked out really good for us. Our tailback ends up blocking that guy, which allows our quarterback to get his pull. So there was no read on that. That was just a game plan adjustment we put in because we were worried about them having an extra guy out there to mess with our play. Here's another one, trip trade. There's our read guy. You can see that guy's standing up. He's already got a posture that he is coming. And that's pretty much what these guys did. We knew we had to account for it. So we didn't feel like blocking them, so we decided to read them. So here we go. And sure enough, he helped us out. He's playing our running back. You can see we got a nice situation. There's our puller. He's out there on the running back. Their defensive end. There's our trapper. Couldn't ask for a defensive end to help us out any more than that. Thank you for getting upfield. They're in man. So their secondary's got their back turned. Here's our double team going to the backside backer. This looks like we should have a good play here. Run the film. Sure enough. All right, so here is another tag we got. So this is heavy. All right, this is heavy. So heavy involves our H-back. All right, so when they hear heavy, it's power. So we would just say power heavy. Heavy only affects 2 guys. Play sides blocking power, no big deal. Running backs running power, no big deal. Heavy tells the backside guard he's the trapper, tells our H-back he's the puller. Now this is important. Why do we want to do this? Well, we no longer have to read the backside end. All right, we can change our read. All right, so we brought the H-back, so now we can read a 7th guy. What that means is we can run RPO with a heavy tag, and we can RPO off a 7th guy. So we can be over here. We could read a play side safety that's coming down into the box. We could read a play side strong safety playing over our slot, entering into the box. There's a lot of different things we can read when we put in the heavy tag. All right. We can even run our book call or our trip call. And what we can do is we can read a backer instead of a defensive end. So I've got some clips of this too. So here we go. So this kid's lined up on the wrong side here, but this is going to be a heavy tag. So you can see here, here's our H. He's going to be the puller going along. Oops, darn it. Sorry about that. I'll back that up. Okay, so what we told our quarterback here is we're going to read that guy. We're going to read that guy here for our pull read. So this is actually a heavy. And we made a quick call. This was a game plan for these guys, and he's going to read this gentleman. We're going to put our running back on his outside zone course, and our quarterback is going to read that guy. Because it's a heavy call, our tackle is going to take this gentleman. All right, we're going to block him. Everybody else is accounted for in the power scheme, but we're going to read him. If he widens with that gentleman, our quarterback's going to pull it, and he's going to run the concept up inside. So you can see, right, you can see this guy here. His eyes are clearly on our running back. We got exactly what we wanted. Our quarterback's going to pull. Wish we'd have blocked that guy a little bit better. But we end up with a pretty good play there. So you can see that was a pretty good linebacker for them. We just decided we weren't going to block him. Here's Southlake. This one, same kind of deal. We're going to run heavy. And what we're going to do here is we're going to run our outside zone. We're going to run our outside zone course to here, and we're going to read that guy. If he widens with him, we were worried about this kid entering into the box. If we just ran a regular heavy, we were worried about this guy entering from outside the box here and messing up a play. So our answer was we were going to hold him with this fake. We were going to read him. If he entered, we would just hand this ball off. But we were pretty confident that he would play this motion here, and it would allow our quarterback to pull it. So you can watch, if you watch 25, you'll see what our quarterback sees. Clearly went after our running back. Don't have to worry about that guy entering the box. We're able to account for everybody. We get a pretty good play. Here's another example, same play. We're going to do the same thing. You can't see the guy we're reading at the start of the play, but here he is. This is that guy we were worried about inserting in. Here's our trapper. Here's our puller. These guys are down blocking the crap out of that guy. Boom. That right there was our nice block by our H-back coming around through there. In fact, let's take a look at that. You can see how he's our puller. You can see how he gets up on that play side backer if you follow him through here. He's inside our trapper. Here's our puller. There's our double team. Couldn't ask for anything better than that. Maybe our quarterback run outside that block, but you can see how that H-back became the trapper. This is rat, okay? This is a rat tag. So rat tag, we only have a trapper. When we make a rat call, we have no puller. Who does rat affect? Rat actually affects the play side. When they hear rat, they are not double teaming to the backside backer like in our normal power scheme. Rat has them double team to the play side. Who's responsible for this guy? The quarterback. Rat for us is a big time RPO concept. All right. So we'll read a 6-man in the box. Our trapper will trap him out. We'll double team to the play side. Quarterback is responsible for him. This guy hinge blocks, always protects play side B gap. No one shows he'll hinge back and block this guy here. All right. So we'll just keep moving along. How am I doing on time, Coach?
You're good.
Awesome. All right. So this is our rat tag. You can see everything play out pretty well for us here. All right, so we're going to double to this guy. Now, our quarterback, we had like a little bubble concept going on out here. He didn't like this look. Looks like man out here. So I don't know if I agree. I would have probably preferred him to check the play into a man beater to some extent, which we give our quarterback the leeway at any time. Like we give him, answers to different coverages. So going in each week, like he has audibles. We allow him to change the play anytime he wants. Like I probably would have preferred that. He decided to just run with the play. He knew he wasn't going to throw off of this gentleman. In fact, big time blitz posture here. He probably just decided to run the ball play side, which ended up being a great call. Tristan ended up being all state. He's going to go play at the next level. Did a really nice job for us. So you can see our trap block. That's just a rat call. So that just makes the backside guard the trapper, and we don't have a puller there. All right, so we're going to get into – so that's all our tags for our runs. Hopefully that gave you some insight into how we use them. Maybe you'll see some use for them. Definitely the concepts aren't new. Everybody runs everything there. It's kind of how we communicate it, and makes it easier for us to teach our guys. Here are some other tags we use. This is all stuff we use with our post-snap RPO game. So we use a stay tag. All right, so what a stay affects the backside. Stay affects the backside of our zone run game. All right, so here, if we're running it to a 3 technique, which we call the eagle side, the backside guard, he's critical in a stay call. If his play side gap is occupied, he'll block zone with the other 4 gentlemen. The backside tackle is always going to hinge. It's going to step, and then he's going to block out. In this case, we're going to read this guy. All right, we're not going to read the defensive end. We're going to read this 6-man in the box. If we're running it over here to a 1 technique, you'll see the guard doesn't have his play side gap occupied, so he'll hinge along with the tackle, and we'll end up basically blocking these guys out. Everyone else here is involved in the zone. This guy has to step to this play side gap before he hinges out in case this guy was to slant. If this guy walks up into his gap, he has the ability to make a line call, which will turn this entire thing into a full zone. And our quarterback will then know he's got to read the end. All right. If he feels that every gap is going to be covered, we can just yell Zorro, 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 full zone everything. And then our quarterback knows he's got to read back here. All right. So what this allows us to do is read a 6-man instead of block a 6-man. So we can see some of these things here. All right. So here we're going to run some play side RPO. Or excuse me, some zone RPO. There's the guy we're going to read. These guys backside here, they've got their stay call. So it looks like, it's hard to tell, looks like the play side gap for our guard is unoccupied. So both these guys should be hinging and blocking these gentlemen out. We're full zone over here. Quarterback's going to read that guy. We've got our RPO concept set up with our Y or our H. So that actually, if you're an RPO team, this makes your life easy. If you know this guy's blitzing, you can almost abandon this fake and rip your RPO concept to the outside. This guy also, this is important. You have to drill this in your RPO sessions. I'd be glad if anyone wants to know how we practice RPOs. It's a special session we've started running a couple of years ago. But he's got to recognize this guy's coming. And his RPO is going to change. He knows he's got to look at all this grass. He knows he's got to get in there, beat this guy. It's actually an advantage because he can run away from that guy into this grass a lot sooner. I'm not sure how Nate did on here. Yep. I'd have liked to seen our H. This would be graded a minus, just so you know. Like, I would have liked to seen our Y one step and get into this void. One step and get in this void. He ran this more like the guy was not blitzing. When we get blitz, he should know he's getting it. So it should be like one step in here. Only thing I can think of is I don't remember specifically. This guy might have bluffed a few times. But when you're in a sprinter stance like that, we teach him play that as if it's a blitz. But all in all, it still works out. Nice play. Okay, here's another one. Okay, now this is awesome. So here we have put in this one. I put this in. This isn't a stay tag. This is a kick tag. So this is an example of a 7th-man RPO. So we're blocking full zone up here. This is our kick tag. He's going to kick out the first guy in the end. But because now we've brought this extra guy, we don't have to read the 6th-man. We can read the 7th. So what our quarterback this week, all he's reading is the release of this man. If he gets inside of that guy on the release, he's going to pull it and throw. If this guy was up in a press, or it was cloudy out here, or that guy is dropping into the flat, he will hand the ball off. All right, so inside release, boom, we're on our way. So that's an example of a RPO where we're reading the 7th man instead of the 6th. Okay, here's another one. All right, we counted him as the 7th. All right. Here's another example. This is our kick. This is our kick call. So zoning it up here, kicking there, reading that gentleman. I think this is actually an incomplete pass. You can watch how that guy, what he sees, those shoulders and his eyes on him, that tells him pull. Be nice if we'd have hit this guy, but we overthrew it. All right, so here, this is another post-snap RPO concept we have. It's our flick tag, all right? And if you remember at the beginning, one of our main objectives in our scheme is these defensive ends are good players. Clintondale had a phenomenal one. Detroit Denby had a D1 kid.
playing out here. So we're not real comfortable blocking him. So flick is just another way to mess with this kid. So our philosophy is we can run at him and block him. We can run away and read him with the QB. We can run a stay and we can kick him out and read this backer. We can have a kick call or a knock call and we can block him with the Y or the H. Flick is one where we're going to bring this guy across and two people are actually reading this end. Our quarterback and our Y are going to read this guy here. If this guy gets upfield, our Y will block him out and our quarterback will give. If this guy crashes, the H-back or Y, whoever you have in there, he'll run right past them and into the flat. And our quarterback on pull read, instead of him running it, he will flick it right out here to the H-back in the flat. So this is if this guy is crashing down, this is what we'll throw here. If this guy gets up the field, we'll get a kick out and we'll get a give. So this is a nice one for us. We like this a lot. Really keeps those ends off balance. Now the advantage of flicking it instead of having your quarterback run it is you get away from these guys a lot quicker. Sometimes on the pull read, teams run a lot of, for us, like DN linebacker switch. So to combat us pulling the ball off the DN, they'll purposely crash this guy into the B gap and they'll arc this guy around and take the quarterback. So flick is a great answer to teams that run that DN linebacker exchange to combat your quarterback pull. So if we feel that a school is going to do that, we'll run this instead because this guy will get in the flat a lot quicker. And if they're D end exchanging, he's responsible for the quarterback. We've just neutralized that guy. Like he's no longer an issue. So flick is a great answer if any of you guys run zone read and you get teams that are running that DN linebacker exchange to combat your quarterback on the pull. Run this instead, and you'll run away from that guy. It won't be an issue. So here you can see. So there's our read guy. All right. So quarterback and in this case that's our Y playing the H position. They're both going to read him. If this is a real easy read. The only time we're given is if this guy flies up the field. If he stays on the line at all, both these guys know we're going to throw the flick. So here we go. And he gets the edge pretty easily out there. And we'll have the on that flick. Let me go back here. We'll have this guy on a flick. He'll block because this guy, for all intent and purpose, is going to catch the ball behind the line of scrimmage. So on a flick, he's just going to block. Unless he reads it, it's like some type of man concept. He has the ability to change that and run him off. But our base rule is he's gonna block. We're not reading this guy, but we really got him on the fake here. So you can see their linebacker here, he's playing this guy's going to play our quarterback. Like he thinks our quarterback, he's going to go play this quarterback on pull. See? So that's why you call flick. Like if we'd have just pulled it, that linebacker would have been in our face. All right, so here's another post-snap RPO. This one's real easy. This is sweet. We call this just, a lot of people use rip laser as motion. For us, rip laser is a post-snap RPO. So really, if you can count, you can run rip laser. So what we do is we bring a receiver in deep motion behind the formation. We're running full inside zone. So this would be Zorro laser. So we're going to bring that guy in motion. Quarterback, he knows over here, we're looking for a 3-on-2. So as this guy goes in motion, if this motion results in a 3-on-2 for us, so basically nobody bumps over, nobody spins down, nobody runs with the guy, he's just going to fake this real hard, and throw basically a bubble screen to our motion man. If the defense adjusts at all, so if they bump a guy out, they bring a safety down. In the film I'm going to show you, we put this in because they were such a man team. He runs with our motion and we give the ball. And we end up with a huge numbers advantage to the play side because they vacate that guy. So again, we're not going to block this guy. We're going to take advantage of him. So this is a real easy situation. All right, so right now, over here, we're 2-on-2. So we're going to see what they do. We're going to bring this guy across. If everybody was to stay exactly where they are, he would fake that and throw it to our laser guy. If, and in case they do here, this guy runs with him, or a lot of teams, what they'll do is they'll bump him out, and they'll bump him in the box. You'll end up 3-on-3. We'll hand the ball off, but we'll be happy with that because we'll have a numbers advantage to our play side. So as I let this roll, you can see there he goes. In fact, this is even better. They bump him and they run him over there. So now we're going to run inside zone versus a 5-man box, which for us is really 4 because our quarterback still has the ability to read this guy. So this couldn't have been any better for us. We missed this block, which no coach would be happy about. Should have been a bigger play, but you can see how that that works right there. So package plays. We usually take 1 or 2 of these into every game. And the big reason we like these package plays is we can go super fast. So our goal when we run a package play is we want to snap the ball when the ref blows the ball into play. Like we want to be on the line. We want to have our guys lined up. We want our quarterback already made the decision as to what he's going to do, and we want to go super fast. All right. The clips I'm going to show you are from a few years ago where we needed to win the game to get our 6th win. We were down at halftime. The team we were playing was much larger than us. We came out in the second half and we literally ran this package play the entire second half. We went fast and we just wore them down. We ended up coming back scoring on like the last play of the game to win and make the playoffs. But really the big decision to go to this package play and play super fast wore them down and neutralized their size. So package play, it's 1 play, 1 formation, and there's multiple options off of it. So if you're watching it, this one I'm going to show you could look like any one of 4 different plays, but really it's just 1. All right. The key down here is how you prepare your quarterback. Like you have to be clear with the quarterback as to what look you want associated with each option. So you've got to spend time on the chalkboard, on film, show them the different looks that you believe you're going to see versus a formation. And then you got to be clear as to what option you want them to throw for each look. And then you've got to set that up in your practice. So we'll do it in our RPO session where we will script out on cards what looks we want, and then we evaluate the quarterback on whether or not he chooses the correct option. Now, when you get in the game, you might get different looks. Huddle sideline is a big, huge advantage. You know, you come off between, you look at the looks you're getting, and you can kind of change your options with your quarterback. My QB this year, it was tough. He started at safety. Most of the time, my QBs do not play defense, so it made it a little tougher to run package plays this year. So the clips I'm going to show you are actually from several years ago. All right, so I'm just going to walk you through one of our package plays. So here's one of our simplest one. All right, this is what it looks like. We just call it Texas. So we got a wide bunch out here. We're blocking inside zone up front, and our default is a slant backside. All right, so here's our options. So it's 4 different plays we can have. We can run inside zone. Our quarterback can pull it. Now, when he pulls it, he still has the option to throw this bubble. All right, so if he gets on the edge and this guy plays in his face, he'll throw this on the run, almost like a triple option. He can throw the bubble. So this is pre-snap. If we got 3-on-2, he can fake and whip it out to here. And then last, he can throw a slant, or he can check with a simple hand signal. He can convert this to a fade or a hitch just by giving a hand signal out here to this guy. These guys are still going to block inside zone. If we check to any route that's going to take a little longer, our quarterback will actually have to make a protection call, but we really want to avoid that. We want to just catch it and rip it so we don't get into any illegal man downfield. So I'll walk you through the different options here. All right, so here's the first way we start teaching our guy, count. All right, count the box. If it's a 5-man box, we're handing the ball off and we're going to read the DN. 5-man box makes it real simple for your quarterback. He knows we're running inside zone. He still has the option to read the DN. But 5 here, easy stuff. We're running inside zone. So I have some clips of what that looks like. Okay, so here he is. He's counting. He's got 5 in the box. He knows he's running inside zone. In this case, it was outside zone versus these guys. But it's pretty easy to run outside zone versus a 5-man box, especially when they're tired. Here's another one. Only 4 in the box. Now, the reason there's only 4 in the box, we have been hammering them with the bubble. Like, so they took this is actually their inside backer, and they're putting them over there. They're so worried about the bubble, even into the boundary. We hit a couple slants, so they're keeping this hanging defender out here. All right, so we literally only have 4 guys. So we're going to run our outside zone out here, and that'll definitely be a give. Let's take a look at this guy, see how he's playing it. Definitely not a factor on the run, that's for sure. All right, so here we go. 5 men. We only got 3 guys in here, 2 back there. They went to a man. That was their answer here. We're going to play man. And here's what our quarterback saw. So the DN squeezed down with our tackle, so we're going to get a pull. Here's our bubble out here. Our quarterback has the option to throw this. If this guy shows in his face, he stays out there. Not the best run there. All right, here's the next one. So here we got 6. So now he knows we got a 6-man box. We're not running the inside zone. So he's either going to be throwing the bubble, which is the next option. So he counts out here. Do we have a numbers advantage? If it's 3 on, we know we got 6, so the ball's going somewhere. First place we want it to go is out here. If we got a numbers advantage, we're going to whip the bubble out here. If it's 3 on 3 here, odds are they probably bump somebody over. We might lose this hanging defender, and we might be able to throw the slant. Or it might be 0, and we might get like a fade, or we could even check to a man beater, some kind of legal rub play. We would never pick anybody. That would be cheating. All right, so we would never do that. So here we go. So here we got a 6-man in the box. Now our quarterback has decided that this guy isn't going to be an issue on our bubble, and he doesn't throw this very well. He needs to really fire this out there. But if this was into the boundary, we probably would not be able to throw the bubble. But since we're to the wide side, our rule, generally speaking, is we draw a line halfway between the tackle and that receiver. If he's inside that line, then we're good to throw the bubble. So that's probably what he's reading here. So we're going to get a little flash fake, whip it out. We got good blocking by receivers. We get a nice play. Thank you. All right, so there's a 6-man box. This one's, we have a little something going on out here. You'll notice these guys, they're not blocking. They're running routes. We knew they played a lot of man, so we thought we could just run them off as opposed to block them. Our quarterback, he's actually going to take a look at this guy. If this guy comes down, he'll throw the whole shot. So that's why you see him hesitate before throwing the bubble here. So you check for the whole shot. Guy ran off, so we're on our way. That's just an adjustment we have when the corner's hard playing that. All right. If we get 6-man with no hanging defender, we'll rip a slant out here. So you can see that. So down here on the goal line, this is actually their safety. Their safety has come down in here. Blitz posture. So we're saying no hanging defender. Everybody's manned up over there. We got a crowded box. So he's going to throw the slant as his option here. He does a good job. He lets this guy clear that safety, puts a nice ball on that receiver. We get a touchdown. All right, last thing, I only got a few minutes here, is we also are a big check with me team. So this is a check with me for us is like a either or. So here's one we like. We go empty, and we got the default is a QB draw. If he gets a box that he likes, if he gets a 5-man box, we're just going to run a quarterback draw. We'll block down. We'll wrap around to the play side backer. He'll show pass. He'll run draw. If we get a 6-man box, we're going to he will check to a pass. So he'll just make a simple protection call, which will change it from draw to our drop back protection. This guy becomes hot if he's the 6-man. We'll throw hot off the 6-man every time and empty. And in the clip I'm going to show you, we had a similar concept to this, where we were trying to take advantage of the safety. We end up dropping the pass, but not every clip can be perfect. But you'll be able to see how this works for us. This is just, again, this is kind of like a package play. The quarterback, he's got 2 options, and it's just a matter of 5 or 6. So he knows he's got, man, this is almost like 4. But we're going to count this as 5. He knows he's going to run, he's running draw. All right, so it's just a check with me, and away we go. All right, so we don't need the huddle. We can just go right back on the line in the same formation. This time you see 6, so you can see him communicating. He's communicating with everyone that we're going to throw the ball. This guy ended up becoming wide open on this safety here. Communicating protection, communicating what we want. They already know the route because there's only one route option. And I wish we would catch this, but at least you can see how the concept works. So that's my presentation. I hope that there's something in there you can use. It was like I said, it was a real privilege to be asked to do it. I've watched pretty much every one that's up there. Kudos to Coach Mack for putting together the MHSFCA YouTube channel. I'm not sure how many are up there. I know I've watched at least 4 or 5 myself. So there's plenty to do to keep you busy while you're locked up here. But thank you very much. My email's down there if anyone wants to reach out. Hopefully you enjoyed it and you found something. Coach Mack, thank you very much. I hope I did a good job.